Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Jay. Yep, we're live on YouTube. You can make a start, Councillor Brown.
Okay. Good afternoon, members and those watching via the Council's YouTube page to the meeting of the Peterborough City Council's Employment Committee. Before we start with the agenda, I would like to run through a few housekeeping rules. Members, are you by now aware of the need to keep your video cameras switched on for the duration of the meeting and to keep your microphone muted except when I invite you to speak? If you have any questions or comments, please tick the blue raised hand function. And can I remind members and officers that all virtual meetings will be recorded and that these recordings will be published on the Council's website. I will begin by asking the Senior Democratic Services Officer to call the names of all members of the committee to establish your attendance and then confirm the officers in attendance.
Chairman, where's the emergency exits?
I don't know. Yeah, your back door. If you've got the back door, you can go out the front, either one.
Good lad.
Thank you, JS. Members, I'm just going to go around and confirm your attendance. Councillor Fitzgerald, we're still trying to get a hold of at the moment. So, Councillor Hemraj.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Holditch.
Present.
Councillor Jamil.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Wigan.
Present.
Councillor Yerkatini.
Present.
Thank you. And just for confirmation, we have Mandy Pullen, Assistant Director of HR and Organisational Development, and Lisa Brighty, Policy, Reward and Compliance Manager in attendance this evening, Chair. So I'll hand back to you now.
Okay. Item 1, apologies for absent.
Thank you, Chair. We have no apologies for absence.
Right. Item 2, declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest? If so, could you raise your virtual hand?
I can't see any, Chair. I think we can move on to the next one.
Okay. Revised employment policies. Please, can I ask Mandy Pullen and Lisa Brighty to present?
Hello, thank you, Chair.
I've got a name right.
Brighty.
Brighty. I've got an L in from somewhere.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon members. So what we have for you today are 3 items to discuss. We have the revised employment committee policies, that being the absence and care leavers, which Lisa will go through. We have an annual pay policy, which has to go to full council for approval. But of course, we wanted to bring it to you guys first, just to run through the salient points of that. And also we have to publish our gender pay gap report as well by the end of March. So we just want to take you through, again, the salient information that's coming out of that report. So I'd just like to hand over now to Lisa, who'll take you through the policies first. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. So if I go through the sickness absence management policy first, this policy was updated following an annual review and the implementation of the absence management module in the HR system. As part of that review, we consulted with managers, union representatives, and our HR advisors. And we have updated our documents so that they can provide clearer guidance for managers and for employees. The proposed changes are shown in the policy at Appendix 1 and in Appendix 2 as well, in colours other than black for ease of identifying. The detail around the changes are also noted in Clause 4 of the Employment Committee report, but in summary, these are that we consider long-term sickness to start at 4 weeks of continuous absence rather than the 2 weeks in our current policy. And after taking on board the feedback from managers and our union representatives, that we no longer term the formal warning issued during the long-term sickness absence procedure first, second and final warnings. Rather, that we refer to the outcome of these formal meetings as notifications. So whilst the employee, they will still understand that there are consequences to their continued absence, it does soften the formal action, something that we feel is really important for those who are absent and struggling with their ill health. Chair, would you like me to pause there for any questions or move on to the next policy change?
You can then go on to the next policy change, because I can ask if they want any questions. Ask any questions when you've finished.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The next proposal is with our time off policy and time off with foster carers. So with a view to support our employees to foster and adopt children, something that there is a real need for and that historically there has been a shortage of. This supports our community and our own fostering services within Peterborough. We've looked at our time off policy and we are proposing that we allow foster carers to take 5 days paid leave to attend the mandatory pre-fostering training. So it's a one-off occurrence rather than an ongoing commitment. And obviously more in-depth information is given in the Employment Committee report. So Chair, would you like me to stop there? That's
Stop, then I'll ask if there's any. Right, thank you very much. Thank you, members. Have any questions or comments? If you have, can raise your virtual hand and Dan will advise who has indicated. So,
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I have Councillor Jamil first.
Yeah.
With respect to the policy regarding being foster carers, how many people do we get per year, or how many people will this affect?
So I don't know the exact figures, but we did have a look at this when we were reviewing this, and we don't anticipate that there'll be a great deal of people that actually, that would take this up. I can look back and see if we can gain any further figures for it. Although obviously some people they may not declare that they are asking time off for training purposes for specific foster. So it might be a little bit difficult for me to get exact figures for you.
No, that's fine. It's just that it's good to have a policy, and I was just thinking maybe we've done this on the back of, we've had maybe 5 or 6 requests per year or something, but if we don't know the figures, that's fine.
No, we haven't, no.
Dan, is there any more questions to be asked?
Can't see. Oh, Councillor Fitzgerald, who's just joined us now, Chair.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was stuck on a call, which I had to take. So I was just really, not a question, just letting you know I'm here and present.
Okay. Well, we'll go on to the next. Members, the recommendations are to approve the updated sickness absent management policy and the updated time off policy. Please can I ask for proposer and seconder?
Chair, I don't mind proposing.
Okay. Now I've got a seconder.
I can second this.
Okay. Right.
Thank you, Chair.
That's all
Thank you,
right.
Chair.
Thank you, members. If you do not agree to the recommendation, please can you raise your virtual hand and now. If there are no hands, the recommendation will be approved.
I see no hands, Chair,
Okay,
if that's approved.
right. Item 4, annual pay policy. Please can I ask Mandy Pullen and Lisa Brighty to present? I've got a name right this time.
Thank you, Chair. I think Lisa's going to talk us straight into it.
Right.
So the annual pay policy, the council is required under the Localism Act 2011 to produce an annual pay policy statement. And as Mandy has mentioned, that must be approved by full council every year. This then needs to be published on the council's website. I just wanted to share some highlights from the pay policy with you, but of course the policy is attached in full for your information as well. So the measurement considered by pay policies in general is the ratio of earnings between the lowest earner and the highest earner. In Peterborough, the lowest salary increased from £18,666 to £19,515, which meant that the ratio decreased from 9.30 to 1 last year to 8.89 to 1 currently. The reason for this is that whilst the lower salary bands have increased over the year, the highest salary has remained static. The pay policy statement demonstrates that between January 2020 to January 2021, the median, and that is where the full-time equivalent salaries of every employee are listed in order of value, and the value of the employee in the middle is used. So the median salary in the council increased from £31,371 to £32,624. However, the mean salary, which is where the full-time equivalent salary packages of every employee are added together and then divided by the total number of employees. So the mean increased from £33,748 to £35,633. So this is a good news story, and it shows our continued commitment to reduce the ratio of the highest salary to the lowest salary. So as we previously mentioned, this report will be presented and recommended to full council for approval on the 3rd of March. Chair, would you like me to pause there for any questions or move on to the...
No, I'll ask now. Thank you anyway. Do members have any questions or comments? If you can raise your virtual hand and Dan will advise who has indicated.
I don't have any hands raised,
Okay.
Chair.
All right. So we're on to members of the recommendations are to note the content of the pay policy statement for 2021/22. I therefore wish to note that if you do not agree to this, please can you raise your virtual hand?
No one's raised, Chair.
Going quick today. Right, the next one is item 5, gender pay gap report. Please can I ask Mandy Pullen and Lisa Brighty to present?
Thank you, Chair, and Lisa's going to take us into that, the salient points of the gender pay gap report. Thank you, Lisa.
So the council has produced its gender pay gap report for employees in post as of 31st of March 2020. This must be reported on the government website at the Pay Gap portal by the 30th of March 2021. So gender pay gap reporting is used to assess the levels of gender equality in the workplace and the balance of male and female employees at different levels. So just to share some headline results from the report with you. The mean pay gap, again, this is the difference between the average hourly earnings of men and women. So the mean pay gap has reduced from 5.4% in favour of men to 5.1%. The median pay gap, the difference between the midpoints in the ranges of hourly earnings of men and women, has increased from 2.1% in favour of women to 4.6%. So this is due to an increase in the number of females in the two bottom quartiles, but also an increase in the total number of females within the workforce. So Peterborough City Council's mean and median gender pay gaps are well below the national public sector average. Those figures are 15.7% for mean and 16.8% for median. So we're going to continue, obviously, to ensure that there's no bias in our recruitment, in our training or promotion practices. We have a new approach to our annual appraisals in the form on continuous conversations rather than one annual meeting, which we believe will help to open up opportunities for discussions on development and on promotion. A continued push to support employees into apprenticeships and further use of agile working practices should also help reduce the gap further. So the figures that we've quoted there are based on a total workforce of 1,174 employees, of which 73.25% of the workforce are female, which, as we alluded to earlier, has increased, and that's increased from 70.8% last year. So as we refresh our people strategy during late spring, actions will be included within another action plan, and this is therefore a positive position for Peterborough City Council, with continued work to ensure it progresses. So again, Chair, happy to pause there for any questions.
So, well, yeah, I'll just ask them. Thank you. Do any members have any questions or comments? If you have, can you please raise your virtual hand and Dan will advise you as indicated.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we have Councillor Jamil first.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I just want to make sure that I'm getting this right in my head if someone asks. So the gap between male and female pay, what we've got is a smaller gap than what the national average is. Is that what we're saying?
That's right, yes, yeah.
Chair, if I can just ask one more question. The amount of females that we have compared to males, is this normal for local authorities, or are we just got more females, or sort of just give us a bit of background on that?
Okay, so no, I think it is a general thing that there are more females working within local government. I think that's in part due to the flexible working opportunities that are offered, part-time working opportunities as well. It encourages a more female-based workforce.
Thank you, Chair. We have Councillor Hemorrage next.
Thank you. Looking at the pay gap and those that are higher up the pay scales, is it predominantly more women or more men once you get to the senior management level?
Sorry, I don't know the answer off the top of my head for that one. I think that it is a mix. I think there are both male and females, but there will be more. I think there will be more females within that.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, Mandy's just raised her hand.
Right.
Hi. Just to add to that, Councillor Hemorrhage, it rather depends at what level. When you say senior, if we're looking at the very senior, the very top, the director level, then it's predominantly more females. But if we're coming down the levels, then there's probably more of an equality there. So it rather depends on the level that you mean when we talk about senior. So happy to have a conversation with you about that, or to look out some further information if you need.
I just come back on there. So for when we got all middle management posts, is that a mix of men and women? Because I know a lot of the lower banded roles are probably more predominantly women to men, but as you start going up the management roles, does that turn out to be more men?
We'd need to look at that data for you, but we do have that data that's noted out in our equality monitoring report. So I'm very, very happy to share that information with you.
Thank you.
Okay, Chair, we have no more hands raised.
Okay. Right, members, the recommendations are to note and accept the results of the gender pay gap calculations of 31st of March 2020. I therefore wish to note that if you do not agree to these, please can you raise your virtual hand now? Thank you.
Have no hands raised, Chair, therefore it's noted.
Okay, right. We're coming to the end then.